This is the story of how a tiny little school at the top of Mount Kemble Hill in Morristown grew and flourished and evolved into the Far Hills Country Day School of today. The year was 1929, also the year of the stock market crash, and a group of local parents wanted to give their children a progressive education focused on creativity and experiential learning. Called the Mount Kemble School, we opened our doors with only 12 students and one teacher. The first head of school was a woman, talk about progressive, named Mrs. Jessie Stanton, who believed children should have the freedom to explore their own interests and try new things. This approach caught on, and soon a second campus opened at the Hascombe House in Bernardsville. We had 74 students, but only 4 boys, so we hired our first male teacher to attract more male students. It worked. The school purchased 18 acres from the Page family for $25,000 and moved to what we now call the Page House. That same year, a woman named Mrs. Betty Noling was hired and stayed for 50 years, teaching English, Latin, and her specialty, theater. She directed over 400 student productions. 1944 was when Mount Kemble changed its name to Far Hills Country Day School, adopted the green and white school colors, started Field Day, and entered a long period of growth. By the end of the 40s, Far Hills went up to the 9th grade, and throughout the 40s and 50s, times were good. Fast forward to 1960s, the space age. A more modern building was opened, including science labs, an auditorium, and a dedicated art room. In the 70s, we started our overnight adventure trips and held our first La Belle Boutique and Gala. In come the 80s with computers in our classrooms, a community service program, the first issue of Pages, and the installation of our ropes course. 1980 was also the arrival of a young teacher named Linda Fessenden, who's still teaching at Far Hills today. Hi, Mrs. Hoagland. In the 90s, we raised enough money to build the upper school wing and purchase more land, expanding our campus to 55 beautiful acres. And following a school-wide vote in 1998, the Falcon became our mascot. As we entered the new millennium, Far Hills began to look a lot like it does now. In 2000, we adopted our 5 pillars: respect, responsibility, honesty, kindness, and leadership, and still nurture these values in our students every day. And we opened the Jane Geiger Lower School, the Athletic Center, and the Performing Arts Center. So much has changed since 1929, but here's what hasn't: our commitment to strong academics and strong character. How well we know and love each child. Teaching students how to think, not what to think. An educational approach that values performance and presentation, adventure and exploration, curiosity, confidence, and compassion. Whew, 90 years. That's a lot of ground to cover. We are Far Hills Country Day School. So proud of where we've been and so excited about where we're going.